The Oscars, a quiet history of power, art, and change. In the late 1920s, Hollywood was still young. Movies were silent. Actors used big gestures instead of words. Studios worked fast and money flowed quickly. But behind the scenes, things were unstable. Actors wanted more rights. Studios wanted control. Politicians were starting to worry about the influence of movies on society. So in 1929, Hollywood created something new, Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Its goal was simple: bring order. That same year, the first Oscar ceremony was held. There were no cameras, no red carpet, no suspense. Winners already knew their names. The ceremony lasted only minutes. At the beginning, the Oscars were not about dreams or glamour. They were about stability. When movies learned to speak only a few years later, cinema changed forever. Movies started to talk. For audiences, it felt magical. For actors, it was terrifying. Many silent stars lost their careers overnight. Their voices didn't fit. Their accents sounded strange. Their acting felt old. One film became a symbol of this shock: The Jazz Singer. The Oscars followed this change closely. They quietly recorded who adapted and who disappeared. From this moment on, the Oscars became something more than awards. They became a timeline of survival. Big dreams, big contradictions. By the late 1930s, Hollywood entered its golden age. Movies became larger, stories became longer, sets became grand. The Oscars loved this style. One film stood above all, Gone with the Wind. It was beautiful, emotional, and massive. It represented the power of cinema. But the world outside the screen was not beautiful for everyone. In 1940, history was made. Hattie McDaniel became the first black person to win an Oscar. She won, but she was not allowed to sit with the rest of the guests. The Oscars showed two truths at the same time: progress on stage, injustice in reality. Cinema fights back. In the 1950s, a new enemy appeared: television. People stayed home. Movie theaters became empty. Hollywood reacted with size and spectacle. Films became colorful. Music became louder. Stories became epic. The Oscars rewarded this idea. The symbol of the era was Ben-Hur. It was not quiet. It was not small. It was cinema saying, "We are still bigger than your living room." When the rules broke. Then came the 1970s. The world felt angry and confused. Young people didn't trust old systems anymore. Cinema changed again. Stories became darker. Heroes became flawed. Endings became uncomfortable. The Oscars surprised everyone by following this shift. A defining moment arrived with The Godfather. It didn't celebrate goodness. It explored power. For a brief moment, the Oscars rewarded honesty instead of polish. Serious films only. By the 1990s, movies were earning more money than ever. Big action films filled theaters. But the Oscars went in another direction. They preferred quiet dramas, romantic stories, films that felt important. A clear signal came in 1998 when Shakespeare in Love won the biggest prize. From that moment on, audiences understood something clearly: popularity does not guarantee respect. A global door opens. For decades, the Oscars mostly spoke one language: English. Then, in 2019, something changed. A film from South Korea won Best Picture, Parasite. It wasn't American, it wasn't English, but it spoke to everyone. This win quietly said, cinema belongs to the world. The quiet meaning of the Oscars. The Oscars are not perfect. They never were. But they tell a story. They show who has power, who is heard, who is still waiting. Every ceremony is a small answer to one question: what kind of stories does the world respect right now? And that answer keeps changing.